Hey guys, welcome to RV Wholesalers Fire Chat. This is episode 1 of an ongoing commitment that we want to present to you guys, basically with our intentions of updates, furthering communication, trying to give you a little bit of the insider's insight and just what's going on in the industry, what to expect, what's currently happening, and honestly answer a lot of questions that we've been frequently asked over the past couple months and weeks by our customers and potential clientele. So I'm here with David Durnell, the owner, and I'm also here with Dalton Owen. It's one of our best salesmen here. So, and my name's Josh Durnell. So, guys, we just wanted to, like I said, bring this to people's attention, kind of get it out there, put some myths to rest, and overall, just like I said, further communication, which I believe is what David's main intention was as well, with customer to dealership levels. So, Dave, what do you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misinformation in the world today.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think more in the RV industry, there's just a lack of information.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for people to really find out what's going on. There are not a lot of publications. There aren't a lot of podcasts, things that you can listen to that we're kind of used to in other parts of our lives. So we're hoping this is kind of a bridge where people can come and find out information about the RV industry and not only be informative, but also maybe be educational.
Mm-hmm.
Just help people to be able to have a better RVing experience, and a better buying experience, those sorts of things.
A lot of the, well, and you said it best, the lack of podcasts and other informational channels out there, what I've noticed about them is they're all sponsored. So we want to give you guys an unbiased, here's what's going on, dealership to customer, try to inform you as best as we can, what to expect, what's going on. And obviously tell you a little bit about how we're navigating and also differentiating ourselves from the other, I won't call them competitors, but just other people in this space and industry that we do go up against. So, but yeah, absolutely. One thing that I have been really, it's wintertime. Right now, everyone is going to RV shows. They're looking at the new products. They're going out and they're getting pricing, trying to figure out which unit is going to be the best to suit them and their family, obviously for the upcoming season. One big question that is being asked relentlessly: why aren't you guys at the RV shows? Where are you at the RV shows? What RV show can I come see you guys at? I obviously have my own, reasoning to tell them as far as why we won't be there, why we won't be attending, but I would love for them to hear it from you. You see a lot of the things behind the scenes that you have to deal with on paper, not necessarily, I'll refer to that as more political side of things. So would you mind giving us your insight on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. We did our first RV show this year in over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We used to be in like the local RV shows, which for us we're in Ohio. We're filming this right now in Lakeview, Ohio, so it's kind of west central Ohio. We've done the Dayton show probably 23 years ago. We
Mm-hmm.
were in the Columbus show one time. I'll tell you what kind of pushed us out of the shows, those two shows in particular, was what I call collusion, for lack of a better term. And we're never trying to offend anyone, but we are always going to be honest. And what happened was, I'll never forget it, the first show we were at, they called a meeting of all the dealers, right? And we all gather around and kind of interested, your dad and I watching this thing. And what came out was we were all going to pick the same fees
Mm-hmm.
and settle. We're like, fees? We don't have fee. We have dock and title fee and a factory freight type of thing, And I'm like, fees? And they're talking about, yeah, what are we going to set our PDI fee at?
Yeah.
And I think there was $700 at that show. And then they had this crazy high factory freight fee. But everybody agreed on the same fees and on the same dollar amounts because then you couldn't fight them,
Sure.
right? You can't pit dealer against dealer. The other really interesting thing was they were all talking about how their pricing was between 15 to 45% higher at the show,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in my mind, just being kind of new to the dealership business was, wait a minute, I thought shows were where people went to save money.
Well, that's where the overall, one of the myths that I would like to put to
Right,
bed is
yeah.
the show is where you go to get the best pricing, right?
Exactly. And see, what I always tell people is go to the show, right? Especially if you live in Ohio. It's cold right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Florida, you can still do some things in some of the Gulf states, some of the western states, but it's cold here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to go to an RV show. It's fun to see all the trailers at once, right? And all the motorhomes and be able to walk through them and see what you like and maybe don't like. And,
Yep.
I thought this was the floor plan, but it really doesn't fit us. So there's a great reason to go to RV shows. One, it gives you something to do. Two, you can do a lot of great browsing, right?
Yeah.
You can really look. Here's the problem with the RV show. And again, we just did one. We just did the Columbus RV show. We literally, legally had to push our way into it. And the reason for that is we bought a dealership in Delaware, Ohio, which is considered Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
So they had to let us in, so they gave us one spot all the way in the very back. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. All the way in the very back, tucked in the corner, trying to hide us. You say, well, why'd you go? We went just to remind people why we were there, how to be safe at an RV show.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I would hit real quick with you. Think of it this way, okay, I already own a facility. I already have all the bills here, my brother and I. You have all your staffing, right? Everything. So now I'm going to take my units and go, for us, about 60 miles away. We've got to pay to get all those units down there. We have to have extra insurance. We got staffing now that we have to locate down there. When the units get down there, we have to clean them inside and out again because it's winter.
Yep.
So they get very, very dirty. We've got to set them up. You have to pay fees for people to help you set them up. You have all these extra costs, right? You have additional hours that people are working when your dealership normally wouldn't be open. There's marketing involved. And normally you're about $45 a square foot.
That's what I wanted to say too.
Yeah.
I've seen the numbers on just
Yeah.
the space, and if you do the math, I mean, square
Just for
feet,
this unit, a square foot.
you're average $100,000 to get into the show.
Right. Most dealers are tens of thousands to $100,000 to have any kind of decent display in a show. Here's the problem with that. How do I lower my prices if I just made a huge investment in the show?
Yeah.
The answer is they don't.
Yep.
You know, and Dalton, you're at the Columbus show. What did you see price-wise?
So what I did is I walked around and kind of audited ourselves against some of the other people that were there. And, you know, everybody kind of carries the same brand, if not a very, very similar brand to one another. And what I discovered is everybody's within $2,000–3,000 of each other. And without fees, of course, because without probing into everybody else's fees, because I have no idea what those are. If that's because we didn't get invited to the meeting, if there was another one this year, as well as
They remember us well, so there's no reason to invite us to the meeting because we're not going to have hidden fees. We're not going to have we're not going to collude on fees with other dealers. Also on pricing, you know, and I didn't get to go into that, but they all met and discussed that if we all hold a certain margin, right, they can't really beat us up, and people will just have to buy what they like and pay our prices. And you know, we've just never, we don't operate that way. You know, we're very proud of the fact that we're incredibly affordable. And our price is incredibly competitive. You know, if you come to one of our places, you don't see asphalt everywhere. You see stone. You know, we don't have an indoor showroom. We just don't spend money on things that force us to raise our prices, which makes us have to pass that on to you. So now you're paying more interest, more taxes on the same exact unit, right? We like to keep the prices very affordable. Where we spend our money is on service. You know, and if you notice at the show, service was not a topic.
It was just price, right?
It was just price. Everybody just wants to talk price. And look, we all have the same price. So what's your lesser of all the evils, you know? And what I love to point out to customers is, again, go to a show and shop, meaning look.
Yes.
See what you like. Make sure that floor plan fits your family that's in there. Make sure that's the brand that you want to buy, right? But don't go to the show and buy because it's going to be a higher price.
Absolutely.
You know, just as we challenged some customers a couple years ago at the Tampa RV show down in Florida to do a little research, grab some prices a month or two before the show, and then go to the show. And what they found was the prices were drastically different. I mean, they weren't even close. You know, they had raised their price thousands of dollars. And the reason they raised the price thousands of dollars was to cover the cost of the show.
Oh, absolutely.
So you weren't getting a better price, you're getting a much worse price, very honestly. And remember, then you have to pay tax on that thousands of dollars, you have to pay interest on that thousands of dollars.
And that's one thing I noticed. So talking to a couple customers, getting to know them, and while at the show, just doing some general education, because one of the points of the podcast, or this discussion, is helping educate people. While they were down there, they weren't being shown the camper that they're walking through. They weren't being, you know, hey, this is how this works, this is what this does, et cetera, et cetera. And salesmen that are down there aren't doing that. They're just, yep, this is a camper, this is a price. On top of the customers that I dealt with, they were, they would be like, yeah, this is the price. Well, like, well, let's go look at that unit. Well, that's a 2022. It has X options. And
I was just getting ready to say
yeah.
that. When you had brought me the sheet of the pricing
Yeah.
difference, the closest one to our price was a 22, and
Mm-hmm.
we were comparing that to our 23.
Yep.
And we were still $3,000 cheaper.
Yep. So
That's
we were cheaper, and when you compared to apples on the camper, they were looking at a 2022, and we had a 2023. Both were ordered campers, and that we were price protected, and they weren't.
And you got to think too, you're not selling the same camper to 100 people. These
Yeah.
are going to be ordered. A lot of the times at the RV shows, they add a lot of features to that camper: slide out toppers, triple step solid stairs to grab. Just all of these accessories that aren't even factory options. They add to the campers at the show, make them more than what they are. When you're going to pick it up, on a lot of people, this is just what I've heard, it's a totally different camper that they're picking up when they are picking it up. And a lot of campers now, as far as availability, which we do want to get to in a moment, but if you went to buy a motorhome there, chances are that's on order, and you're going to have to wait a very long time. Your price is going to be subject to change anyway. That's something I also want to get into.
We were
But
just told that the Ford, who makes the chassis for most of the motorhomes, about 90%, just cut shipments again to the RV industry.
oh, absolutely.
If you want a motorhome, it's very important that you ask some questions, whether you're in a show or a dealer's lot or wherever you're at. When will I get it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it already built? But what are you going to do about the price?
What they're hoping and what they're preying on is you not asking the questions. Right? Just seeing and acknowledging what they have, even if it is in writing. They're hoping that you do not ask those questions, and that's why we want to make sure you are and give you the questions to ask as well.
No, and I want to invite everybody to check out our webinars. We do webinars
Yeah.
all the time, and in the webinars we tell you how to safely buy an RV, and we're getting ready to do a webinar on how to safely buy an RV if you're attending a show. And the safe way to do that is don't buy the RV at the show, buy it after the show. And things like, hey, this price goes up right after the show. If they can do the price today, they can do it after the show.
Absolutely.
And they bring in factory reps to help, turn the screws a little bit, make it feel a little more vital, that sort of thing. Again, the way we look at it is we don't want a sale from you. We want a partnership, right? We want to bring you into our family. We want you to feel comfortable before you buy. We want you to feel really comfortable after you buy, with great service. And if you can get someone to sit down, ask them questions, right? How are you going to take care of me after this sale?
Yep.
Just what are your fees? And when they say, we don't have fees, well, just put it in writing for me then, right? Put in writing that if my price changes one dime between now and when I pick this up from you, I get my deposit back.
Yep.
Put that in writing for me. If they won't, then your price is going to change. If you ask any of our people, can I get that in writing? Absolutely.
I tell people
We'll write it
that
in there for 'em.
I tell people that all the time. We do not make enough money on each individual sale to pat ourselves on the back and say we got them, we're good. We take a couple pennies from your pocket. We take care of you after the sale. We need you to come back and buy again from us.
We need you to send your friends, your
And
families, your
even if it's the
coworkers.
last one, we expect you. Your word of mouth is stronger and more powerful than any advertisement we could pay for. You send us your friends and your family because they'll be taken care of as well. That's why we do what we do.
So we don't do the shows, but we do the virtual RV show. Is that why? So that way we can keep everything here, not transport down there?
The cost is drastically different. We really have very little, if any, expense in the virtual RV show.
And a lot of times the manufacturers will toss us rebates to advertise theirs. I mean, we give that to the customer. We want to save you more money that doesn't necessarily come from our pocket. It's nice. It's a really good incentive that it keeps everyone happy. So it's absolutely.
So you guys were mentioning prices at the shows. I got a question from that burning on my mind. I got customers been waiting a while on ordering campers. I'll call them 6 months ago, call them today, and they're seeing the interest rates. They're seeing the prices fluctuate. They want to see them go down. We're seeing them go up. What's going on? What do you guys think is going to happen?
Well, I think, for some reason we kind of separate things. And if you look at the United States, look at eggs right now, right? You went from $1 to $2 to $4, $5, $6 a dozen. So eggs have gone crazy. Gasoline keeps surging back and forth. Right now, it's pretty decent where we live. But the car industry's been hit by price hikes. The RV industry is no different. And that's the first thing I would say. RVs are no different than any other industry. We're all dealing with inflation, right? We're all dealing with Chinese manufacturers. We're all dealing with shipping costs. We're all dealing with delays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What I think that we're seeing in the RV industry is you're going to see a little bit of decrease in some areas, but then you see an increase again because, again, of supply chain issues, shipping issues, et cetera, et cetera. But it's no different than any other industry.
Yeah.
We have not seen a larger increase. We've not seen a smaller increase.
It's very steady, though,
very
from what
steady,
I've
right.
seen.
Now, have the price increases slowed? Yes. Have a few even gone backwards a little bit? Of course. But you need to understand they're probably decontenting.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that means, it means they're pulling things out, right? Instead of 2 outside lights, there's 1 outside light. Instead of solar prep, or maybe it had a solar panel, now there's no solar panel, it's just solar prep.
Yep.
So they're rolling back some of the offerings, maybe less of a TV or fewer TVs. So they're decontenting to get that price down. But, Josh, you discussed this earlier. They can't just, if a unit went up $4,000 over the last 3 years, they can't drop it $4,000 right now for a lot of reasons. One is pricing hasn't gone down that much, right?
Of course.
Supply chain, et cetera, et cetera. What's the other reason?
Well, and so what I would add, I would hate to say this is the new normal, right? I refuse to believe that our direction's headed this way, but like Dalton, I have a lot of customers who, they're waiting to see what happens. And unfortunately, the ones that have done a quote last July on the same camper today, they see that increase, and now they're like, well, now I can't, it's going to continue to rise. Well, it very well could be. Waiting is going to cost you more money, unfortunately. And that's, again, in any industry, RVs are a little bit harsher because think of all of the different industries we have to get supplies from to make one product, right? Everything from microchips to cloth to fiberglass to all these building materials and construction materials. It's almost one of the more difficult ones to project or to follow. But what I'm telling my customers is they can't. Prices cannot go back down. Even if we go tomorrow, it goes back to what 2019 standards were before all of this stuff happened. Guys, the banks have been loaning MSRP and above for the last 2.5 years. If the manufacturers drop their prices tomorrow, if they could, the banks would literally have a war on their hands and they would win because no one's getting an RV without the financing, even the manufacturers themselves. They won't allow that to happen. What I do project, at least within the next 5 years, is rebranding. You can get the same floor plan of the same camper. It's going to have almost no options as what it does today. We're already seeing that with a lot of more, there's a luxury fifth wheel that we offer. Now they still have their luxury line for those that are in the market for that, but they have come out with a new, let's just call it an economy line fifth wheel. It's still the same name, right? But it's a different segment, and it doesn't have, all the big ticket items, your auto leveling, your third air conditioner, your solar panels, your extra on, all of the things that made the product what it was. They're decontenting everything. So we're already starting to see that, but the industry is still very much greedy. So
well, and what they're trying to do is if you want a certain brand, they're going to try to find something to offer you
absolutely
under that name so you can stick with them.
Yep.
Which makes sense. And the interesting thing to watch with RV prices, though, again, is if you're waiting on them to come down, probably isn't happening, but they've stopped going up. So now's a great time to jump in, before it gets real hot again.
yeah,
and people start buying like crazy again, because then the dealers will take advantage of it. And that's a big thing for us. Is just do your homework, shop, really check prices. The only way to know what a true price is at a dealership, though, is to ask, will you put that in writing? And say in there that if my price changes at all before I come to pick up my RV, I get my deposit back.
has to be in writing.
Have them put it in writing, have them sign it. Here's the reason. That's the only way to avoid hidden prices, right? That's the only way to avoid that, because a lot of dealers show a great price, but by the time you get there and pick up your RV, that price is gone.
And that's all it is. It's an advertised price. It's
Yeah.
not close to your out the door price.
Yeah.
Dalton, were you going to say something?
Yeah, you guys keep saying put it in writing. Is there a difference? And I'm just asking kind of out of ignorance, I guess. Is there a difference between an advertised price and an out the door price? Because I have customers come to me like, yeah, they're telling me this camper costs.
Oh, at most dealerships, absolutely.
We'll put it this way. If you were to get on RV Trader, how is that same camper on my lot, right? I'm 2 hours away from the factory, so that means my cost of doing business is fractions lower than what it would be compared to Texas. How's that dealership in Texas asking the same price, if not lower, than what I am here in
He's
Ohio?
got at least $2,300 in shipping.
With these gas prices, probably $3,000+.
So what you're saying is that a dealership A is going to be upfront and put it all on paper that the camper costs $10, gas is $3, and taxes are $5. Camper costs $18 out the door, and dealership B is only saying the camper costs $9 and nothing else. So therefore, they're getting it. And those customers are then getting.
They're hitting people with fees like a PDI fee, a walkthrough fee is a new one. We've seen PDI means pre-delivery inspection. That's where a dealership goes through all the systems and makes sure everything works. Walkthrough fee is when they show you how to use your RV. There's a big box chain store. They've got 130 some stores. They are charging a huge PDI fee, a huge walkthrough fee, and people are paying it because they do deposits and they don't want to lose their deposit.
Well, they're paying it because they don't know about it until they get in the doors.
And it's kind of a shock thing.
It is, but it is also a scientifically proven research study that once you are in the doors, the closing rate is 90% instead of 10. Everything they can tell you over the phone to get you there, even if you're the 1% that, and again, people drive for RVs, right? They travel for RVs. They're willing to travel to get the deal. If I just drove 6 hours, even 60 minutes, the chances of me not at least fighting you to get those off, and even if you say no and I walk out and then you turn around and do it, at the end of the day, now I'm still supporting the guy that tried to take advantage of me. But their closing rate is so much higher when you get inside the doors, and that's when you see that stuff. So,
are you guys getting the questions I've been getting on interest rates?
yeah, well, yes.
Yes, I have. A lot of the big question is we're waiting on the interest rates to go back down. And it's from the
what are the interest rates, right?
What are the interest rates?
What are you seeing today?
And interest rates aren't going to drop anytime soon.
No.
The interest rates were lowered to the lowest level ever in the history of the United States because of COVID.
Yep.
To try to keep the economy going. Now, of course, they're raising interest rates because they're trying to stop inflation. So you have two things at war, basically. Here's the cool thing about interest rates. If you compare the interest rates today that people are paying to the interest rates of 2 years ago, 3 years ago, okay, even pre-COVID, over the course of the average loan, the average RV loan, it's $500.
Yeah.
So in 10 years, it's going to be another $500 in interest. It's not a massive, and $500 is not a little amount of money. Don't mishear me.
You're saying the difference between like the rate of like a year based,
Yes,
right?
It's over the course of your loan. The cost to you is very, very minimal.
Absolutely.
It really is.
It's
very minimal.
For some reason, people just they see the number. Oh,
Yeah,
it's not what it was 3 years
And
ago,
it
so
spooks you.
it spooks you.
It
But
does for me. You know,
Yeah.
I just bought a new truck, and it's like, wait a minute, what's
Yeah.
that interest rate? But then as I ran the tables and looked at what my total cost would have been, what my total cost is now with the higher interest rate. Oh, wait a minute, that's not that bad. It's a few $100.
Yep.
You know, over the course of the loan. So don't be freaked out by the interest rate. Here's the other thing, really cool thing with RVs. If you own a home, this can be considered your second home on your taxes. You can take the interest off your taxes anyways. Now, here's the other thing. They aren't coming down anytime soon. Unfortunately, interest rates, that is our new normal. So we just have to get back to living. But we're not going to stop camping.
no.
I love to camp. I'm not going to stop camping because of interest rates, right? So, again, it's a very minimal investment. Now, what we've done to offset it is we're giving an extra $1,000.
Gotcha.
It's costing the average customer $500. That covers everybody on the extra interest, because we don't want that to be the stumbling block. Here's the thing we found through our life. People that camp have a much higher life expectancy, life satisfaction. They're happier people. They're closer in their marriages. They're closer to their children. They're closer to their grandchildren because they do this.
Yeah.
I only wish this fire were real because I am freezing right now. But what I do every single weekend in the summer is we sit around a campfire with family, right? Because you get to know people. You see who they really are. You see what's really important to them. And you know, time is the most valuable thing we have. And when you sit around a campfire, you're saying to those people around that campfire, you're important enough to me that I'm sitting here with you.
And my phone isn't in my
And
face.
my phone isn't in my face.
Yeah.
And what it does, literally, it bonds you to those people. So don't let a little higher interest rate keep you from camping, right?
Yep.
Do we like it? No. Do we like the RV prices? No. Here's a cool little tidbit for you, and I'm trying not to make sales pitches, but I'm so passionate about RV wholesalers because we're doing the right thing for the right reasons. But we might be the only dealership in the country in the last 3 years that has a less of a profit margin, you know, because we refuse to raise our prices. We refuse to take advantage of people. You know, when the market's hot, great. When the market's cool, great. We're going to be at the same pricing, right? We're going to be doing the same thing.
And I think that's what people fail to mention. I know you're paying more for it too, but we are. We are too. We're not paying what we were 3 years ago, right? But our profit margins haven't changed.
No,
that's something to be proud
that's
of.
the thing. That's the thing that we are proud of because we want to make sure that people keep camping.
Mhm.
We want to make sure you keep spending time with your families, right?
Mhm.
With your friends, that you keep bonding around the campfire. And camping's a pretty amazing thing. You know, 22 of us and 4 campers went out west 2 summers ago, and we had the greatest experience of our lives. And it's so cool when we get back with any of those 22 people because the first thing that comes up is, hey, remember when? And you start talking, you know, about the trip and about all the experiences. And, you know, one I like to tell, I've got an aunt that was on the trip with us, and she's in her motor home figuring out how to make homemade mashed potatoes and beef stroganoff for everybody, right? In a motorhome, and she did it. And what we figured out on that trip was how incredible it is. We had 7 people in ours at one point. How incredible it is to be that tight, that close to people. You know, people are like, that had to be terrible.
No.
No, that was a dream come true. And, you know, you can say, what's this got to do with RV prices? What's this got to do with interest rates? What's your family worth?
Well, you cannot put a price on it, right? I
What's
mean,
your
that's
life worth? We get one time around on this planet.
Yeah.
What's it worth? I haven't hit interest rates or RV prices yet that are more important than my family.
Yep. Period. Yep. Communication is key, even in your guys' relationships at home. That is our hidden agenda here. We want to be transparent. We want you to see who you're working with before you decide to do so. I mean, I'm really excited that we're finally getting this off the ground. It's been an idea for quite some time, and within the last 2 years has been very interesting with dealing with everything. So very, very happy that we're finally getting together and making this happen. And if you guys do have any other interesting topics that you'd like more information about, anything from camping to stock, all of these things, please don't hesitate to at least reach out to us. Leave a comment below. We would love more things to be tailored towards and be able to focus on outside of the things that we struggle with and worry about on the day-to-day basis, such as our objections we're overcoming and how we're handling those things.
Yeah,
So
make sure you check out our webinars. Also check out our virtual RV show. We do one a month. It's very informative. You're gonna, the webinars basically teach you how to buy an RV safely. People say, why do you do them then? What is this a sales commercial? No, real quick, and this will be the end of this one, but there's going to be probably 400,000 RVs sold this year, new.
Yeah.
Doesn't count used.
That's not
Used
the
probably
used, yeah.
another 400,000. We can't sell them all, right? We got 4 stores, 3 in Ohio, 1 in Texas. There's no way we can handle that kind of volume. So what we try to do is say, okay, for those of you that can't make the drive, right? For those of you that aren't in our area, number one, we want your business. We love your business. We can take care of you no matter where you are. But if you're not comfortable yet, right, you're not sure, then watch the webinar and learn how to protect yourself, right?
ask the questions, know what you're getting before you
things
get
in
there.
writing, and
Yep.
the webinars do a great job of educating. The RV show does a great job of educating you.
And it's more of a live thing too. So we're
Yeah, exactly.
you ask the questions you
interact
want
with
to
us.
know.
Right there.
We're interacting
Yep.
together. We're answering those questions spot on. It's a much more personable thing that you relate to for those people that are in that process. So yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
So RV industry, the RV stock, we back in 2019, 2022 or to 2021, we had almost no stock. Now we have a lot of stock, a lot of 2022s, 2023s. What's going on? We did the opposite there.
Yeah, you know, it's industry wide. It's just it's a supply and demand thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted an RV through COVID, so they could, you know, just like swimming pools. Everybody's buying swimming pools. All of a sudden, literally a $40,000 swimming pool was $100,000. You went on a 3-year waiting list. By the way, that waiting list is gone now.
Mm-hmm.
So RVs are the same way, right? Everybody wanted an RV, so dealers bought like crazy, bought everything they could. The industry only built retail solds.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that way right now with Class Cs. You know, they're kind of only building retail solds. But now, if you're looking for a travel trailer, fifth wheel, a hybrid, this is sort of like a hybrid, right? If you're looking for any kind of towable, toy hauler, now's the time. Today's the day. Why? Because dealers have a bunch of them.
Yep.
So that puts you back in the control, right? For example, we're running a stock discount. We don't do that, but we have so much stock. All dealers have so much stock right now. So don't buy into a lot of guys are still using the sales pitch. Well, you know, there's not that many of them out there. So no, there's a bunch of them out there. All you got to do is drive by RV dealers. So any kind of towable, travel trailer, fifth wheel, hybrid, any of those pop-ups. If you're looking at Super C's the semi front end motorhome, those, great time to buy a Super C.
Mm-hmm.
Class A, diesel pushers, gas, great time to buy them. Class C motorhomes, if you can find them, like we have some in stock, but there aren't a ton of them. Ford just cut the chassis again for this year, so there's not going to be a ton of them.
Yeah.
Super C's, get everything in writing. I'm not telling you not to buy them right now. Buy them. Pricing's better than it has been in a while. What I'm saying is be careful. You know, you go to buy a Super C or a Class C and order it, and the dealer says, I'd have it for you in 3 weeks. Get that in writing. And then make them put in writing that if they don't deliver in that time frame, you get your deposit back. When they won't do it, then you know you're not getting it in 3 weeks. So just be very, very careful with Class C's. But anytime you order, you need to ask a few questions. You know, make sure you don't miss a camp, because we have people that miss whole camping seasons.
Yeah.
You know, they miss the whole year waiting
For
on motor
for
homes
waiting on the order.
Yeah, things like that. Used, what are you guys hearing with used? Because I hear a lot of customers asking for used, and I find that interesting.
Well, and that, so the two things I was just going to add to that real quick. I'm getting two types of customers right now. I don't really want to segment them in two different, but I'm getting a lot of educated customers right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who know this is the time to buy. Just like you'd buy a coat in the summertime, you're going to get a better deal. Sure. So a lot of educated customers coming out of the woodworks, they know they're going to get that deal today, and that's why we're having the sales that we're having. That's why we're doing the things that we're doing with us out of the equation. The other people, back to your question about the used market, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm getting a lot of people, they'll inquire about a new one. A new fifth wheel, a new travel trailer, new motorhome. Hey, do you have a used model by chance? And I hate to assume, but what I'm willing to do is assume that you guys are only asking that because you're assuming that you're either paying too much for the new one, you're worried about things dropping down for some reason, or you're simply just price conscious. You're looking for a lower price on that same model. Unfortunately, with what we're saying on the wait times, the supply and demand, guys, if you have to wait X amount of weeks or months for a product that you're ordering, what's to stop the person that's selling a used one for more than they paid for it?
Well, and I was just going to say, what we've actually seen, it's hard to shop used.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm buying a new Ibex and I know the model, I can call every Ibex dealer. I can do a search on the internet and check pricing. Not exact because of the hidden fees, but I can check pricing. How do I shop a used Ibex?
Right.
Right? I may not even find another one in the country for sale right at this moment. If I do, it may be 18 states away.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're finding is they're actually, not only are the used artificially inflated like the new were, but the used even more so. We have seen customers that have found our new pricing and said, you're cheaper than the one I just found used.
I just dealt with that with a gentleman yesterday on a Super C. Yep.
Yeah, but see, people are thinking, I got to buy used right now, the new are too expensive.
No,
Make sure
you
you
are
shop it.
So,
you are paying an inflated price.
Yes.
And I think the other biggest thing, Dalton brought up a good point here when we were off camera for a minute, but people pay. Chances are, if you bought it within the last 2 years because of supply and demand, you probably paid a lot more than what you should have.
Right.
Again, chances are, I've just from what I've
Not
seen,
here.
I've been getting a lot
Nationwide.
of trade-ins that were obviously from out-of-state people that did not purchase from us, hadn't heard about us at that time for whatever reason, brand we didn't carry, weren't willing to travel, whatever the case is. I can't make up that difference of the $10,000 that you paid more versus what you would have bought it from me as. It's but in the used market, if you decide to go that way, not only are you paying what that person unfortunately did, you're not getting a warranty. You don't know what issues you're inheriting. Who's giving you your walkthrough? Who's doing? There
I was
are
asked the
so
question, why
many
is someone selling a used one after 1 year?
after 1 year.
so just recapping on the used stuff, you guys, and this was my general synopsis on people's conversations, is a lot of dealerships aren't taking in trades because, or being price gouged, customers are being price gouged, and they can't trade them in because they're so upside down on them.
Well, and we see the NADA dropping like fly. I mean, the numbers every quarter we are issued a new NADA book.
Mm-hmm.
It is 10% less than what it was the 3 months before. Those people that are holding on to their campers even to wait until spring because I'll sell it easier or I'll have more buyers. Sure, but if that buyer's an educated person and looks at what the value is and sees what the comparable notes are, chances are you're just digging yourself a bigger hole. And that's what,
Today's a good day to buy.
yeah.
You know, the interest rates are only going to go up. They're not going to come down.
Well, truly, the longer you wait, the more and they've already implemented everything that they wanted to do for 2023. They did it last year for the shows to be prepared for
The
those.
23s are out, and they are what they are.
You're paying more now the longer you wait for the same product. If they were coming out with some revised model and adding these nicer bells and whistles, okay, I'll entertain it. But to even pay $1 more for the same thing you could have got for our customers 6 months ago, you should be asking the questions, you should be getting things in writing, you should be having comparable values and notes. Biggest thing too, because price in this industry is not the main focus like that of the car industry. With manufacturers of vehicles, they're contractually obligated to service you no matter where you bought it from. RVs are the exact opposite. So how are you going to take care of me after the sale? What are you offering? The things we offer don't even make sense to this industry. That's why people question us all the time on those. But with all of that being said, not to plug us in any more than we have to, do your homework, do your research, and please at least educate yourself more than what you feel that you are, simply to get the best deal that you can possibly get. Now is the time more important than ever to make sure you're getting the best deal and to do that research to be able to do so.